Mental Training 101 on 105.5 The Roar. And now back to Get Warrior Tough with Andrew Wittman.
What up? Welcome back to Get Warrior Tough, the most monumental hour in media anywhere. I'm leadership and mental toughness coach Andrew Wittman, joined by the mighty Steven Umphlett.
Thanks for having me in today. This is awesome. I like coming in and doing this.
This is so great. You're the man, dude. I just appreciate, this is great having world-class friends to come help you out, man.
Well,
and I owe you, and I'm going to have to come help you out, too. So
listen,
it's all good.
You already, listen, for those of the folks listening out there, you do a lot of work. You travel every week. I mean, like you're leaving, after the show today.
Yeah, right after.
Yeah, you got to do a huge consulting project. But I think it's really awesome. For the people that are listening, I want them to really... There's so much that every one of us can do every single day, and we get caught up in all the intricacies of life. And the next thing of it, but if you're out there listening today, I want you to please check out what Andrew's got on the website, and you got to go do it. Tell them again where to find it.
GetWarriorTough.com, man.
Yeah,
and get the YouTube channel, subscribe to that. Go to the Facebook page, subscribe to it. Find me on LinkedIn. Just find a hook somewhere and grab a hold. All that content is up there. It's free. It'll help you. We were talking about how do you reprogram. That's how you do it. You feed on this stuff. Feed on this. It's just really it's life, and it'll help you reprogram your brain for your betterment and not your detriment. Instead of listening to all the junk on the news and all that other garbage.
Well, I want to one question, and then we'll segue into this. We got another friend of mine, he emailed me in again, knew I was coming in here with you today to do the show. But, you mentioned the coaching and the programs. Some of the naysayers, and for those of you listening out there, I don't mean to say naysayers, but a lot of people think, well, to hire Andrew or to go do the program, I've either got to be an athlete or I've got to be a CEO of a company or I've really got to be, a mega super entrepreneur or something like that. Do you find that it's that obviously that's wrong because your training applies to everybody?
Everybody, and it's funny because those ones. It's funny the high performers really don't need it as much. They don't need mental toughness as much. Most of them already have this stuff, but they're the ones that they can't get enough of this. You know why? And this is what like the high performers do. This is what champions do. They find something that works and they got results, so they do more of it.
Right on. Yeah. So they feed off of that.
They feed off of it. So no matter where, this is why I love having our kids in the program, because our kids, they're going to get results and they're going to stick with this the rest of it. And they're just going to get more and more and more, and it's just going to skyrocket. So it doesn't matter where you are in life. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you start right now, you could reprogram and rewire your brain. It's neuroplastic. Nothing is set in stone. It's it's a blank canvas going forward, and that's why we do coaching and not therapy. Because therapy is I look back and we just kind of we're focused. We're focused on the back. And that's just not what I do, man. And what we do, I'm like, that's over. I can't fix that. Let's move forward. And coaching is looking forward. It's a blank canvas. Let's paint it, and it's great for every single person on planet Earth. I firmly believe it'll help anybody. And this is for anybody, but it's not for everybody.
Talk about your background a little bit. You and I have spent some time together, and I think for the listeners out there that may not know who Andrew Wittman is, I mean, you've done some really interesting things. You've been overseas. You've been a pastor. You've done some other cool things, but you've got like awesome, really security background. So you've learned a lot, and you've seen a lot of different blank canvases. Talk about that.
Right. Well, my mom and dad were missionaries, and I actually went to high school in Australia. And on the show, I had my friend Craig Miraz he was my high school friend, my oldest friend, 32 years we've been together, something like that. I can't believe I'm old enough to even say that, but whatever. Yeah, so it already started my worldview back then of just opening it up. I was the only my brother and I was 15. My brother was 13. We're there's 4 Americans in this town called Wagga Wagga, and no other American teenagers but my kid brother and I. And it's a complete. it's a Wagga Wagga. Just the name should tell you. Yeah. There ain't no McDonald's in town when I was there. Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? So that's the first year was very hard. It was culture shock, till I could kind of get it would change my worldview, and it's a blank canvas. And then I began to realize this is my life can be whatever I make it. And so I was the fat kid in high school, and I was bullied. And if you read my book, The Australian Triangle, it talks about how Craig kind of came in and saved me, and another guy named Paul Clevens, and they came and kind of helped me from being bullied. And I knew that I needed mental toughness, and I knew that the Marine Corps had what I needed.
And they're badasses. Obviously.
Yeah.
You Paris Island or wherever you went, Coronado, I don't know.
Yeah, Paris Island. Yeah. So, but I needed that. I needed that training. I knew I needed that mental and emotional, and I needed the physical toughness too. And that was the great thing that I knew the Marine Corps could give me all 3 of those things. And so, again, it's a blank canvas, and I made those decisions when I was young. But it doesn't matter. because I've continued on that path because I was still a negative person, man. When I first got married, I was out of the Marine Corps. My wife was like, "Would you be positive?" I said, "I am positive. I'm positive this won't work." And I still had this mindset of I'm an infantry, I'm a grunt guy. I can live in a shelter half. I need a poncho and a poncho liner and my butt pack, and I don't need anything else. Well, that wouldn't have been a very good life for my wife and kids.
No.
I'd have been like a homeless guy or whatever because I don't need anything.
Mike emailed in earlier to the show. Again, as I mentioned, I'm blessed and grateful to be on here today. And he said, "Hey, Steve, will you do me a favor? Run some things by Andrew." He goes, I'm starting to pick up on the program. And Alan's going through a really bad separation, 4-year marriage. The wife decided to leave this past week. He said, hey, my self-esteem and self-worth are just shot. He goes, man, I'm doing all the things I can do. He goes, yes, he's had problems and issues. And he said, could you ask Andrew to talk about where should my focus be now? What should I be working on? Do I go work on the marriage, or do I just take things and detach and go where? Andrew, that you deal with a lot of people, not just athletes and CEOs and the big corporate companies and whatnot. What do we say to Mike or somebody like that when they come to you and they say, okay, because they're coming at you from a little bit of a different approach.
It's not really that much different, to be honest with you. Even CEOs and athletes, this is life. We all deal with this. It doesn't. This is life is the great equalizer, I like to call it, because we all have stuff that's going on. Whether it is a marriage or you just got diagnosed with some crazy disease, or people they hit financial issues. We all have life, and so this is. So I would ask him. I'd have to ask Mike. I would have to ask him. If you want to work on the marriage, it takes two. So it's kind of
right.
It depends on if she wants to or not, because we can't control anybody else but ourselves.
Interesting.
Yeah. Right. So that's the first thing I would tell him is, man, you can't control anything external to you. You can't control anything. Right. The only thing you can control is your response. Yeah, that's you.
You pointed out in the workshop and your audios and stuff. And again, for the folks that have not gotten access to your program, I highly, highly encourage you to do it. And I'm not trying to sell the program. I just think it really works. But you say goals. Mike might be looking at it, and he said to me, he goes, I want to know what my goals should be. Should I realign my goals? And you said, goals don't necessarily always work. I like what you just said.
I hate
work
goals. Yeah.
on you. Go get, what are the things you can control every day?
Right.
Is that
fair? Absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't like goals at all. I mean, I think goals are a waste of time if you don't know your ultimate destination or your vision.
Interesting. What is his destination? So, and I know you don't know him, and that's okay, but
cool.
For somebody like that going through, he probably feels like he's in 40-foot seas and
I get it, and it's hard, man, and the emotion of it. It's hard. And I'll let me say this, because like you brought up that I pastored for a number of years, and I did a lot of marriage counseling, and I got to tell you that a lot of times divorce is worse than death to get through because there's really no closure on the the other person's still there.
They're still alive,
right? So that's difficult to get through. But I will say this: that sometimes, I'll say it like this: if you can get past this in the next couple of years, and you can get under control your body, mind, and emotions, and you get a target, and you're going for something, it could be the best thing for you. We kind of stepped into something, Steve, but I'll say it like this. This is the dangerous thing about taking control of yourself and personal development and going forward. It's one of the hardest things in a marriage when one partner has a target and a destination and the other one just wants to camp out and likes the status quo and be comfortable. Yeah. It's hard because because two people can't walk together unless they're agreed. And we're on the same path. It's like the Clydesdale horses, right? I was talking
about be in unison.
Yeah, because if one of the Clydesdale horses sat down, people ain't getting their beer, man, and this is a problem, right? So a lot of times you can't be right. So if you're not pulling together in the yoke to the same thing, so it gets difficult. But if you could get through it, and get through the emotion of it, there's going to be bad days. You just got to know it coming in and just know, I know who I am. And I'll say this is what I say to myself whenever I'm having a bad time. I reaffirm my self-talk. I'm a man of excellence who always keeps his word. I know my identity. And then I'll say this: I'm a good man. I'm a good father. I'm a good coworker. I'm a good person. I'm a good friend. I'm somebody you want in your life. I am good.
And that's probably great advice for Mike, who's sitting out there, because obviously when you go through these things, and I wish nobody did, but it happens every day, but like you said, it could be cancer, it could be other things. Yeah. He's got to really reaffirm to himself
that he's good,
higher level,
absolutely,
that this is what's going on, and go from there. Do you, on a daily basis, You've seen so much in life and you've been so many places, but you go through the deal with yourself every day too. You reaffirm things, and because some people look at it and go, well, Andrew's got all this figured out, but you work on yourself.
No, I'm a journeyman, dude. Yeah, I don't have anything figured out, dude.
Talk about that.
It's just a process. And so every day I have a thing that I say every morning when my feet hit the deck, I have like a 5-minute, execution formula that I go through where I'm reaffirming to myself who I am. And then, and every day, I know this sounds weird, but every day I'm in the shower, I speak to my body and I speak to my bank account, I speak to my business, I speak to where I want it to go, and I just reaffirm what my vision is, what my target is, the 300-year plan. Yeah. And people laugh when they hear 300-year plan. They're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy talk. Yeah, I know, but it works. Because if you don't have a 300-year plan, are you going to get there? No.
Some people have a problem getting past 30 minutes.
I know.
And so how do you deal with that? And, with about a minute to go in this segment, what do you think? I mean, when somebody looks at you, Andrew, and says, I don't know, I don't have any, I know what I don't want, like you said last segment, but they can't think in terms of a year from now or 6 months or
Well, you've gone through Mental Toughness 101.
Yeah.
So, we walk you down that path where I start to, we say, hey, what's the 3 accomplishments you're proud of? What did and there's a series of questions that we go through, and it culminates with, we ask you to write the vision. And I don't have time to get into each one, but it's in Mental Toughness. But there is an actual psychological path that gets you to the point where you can actually know exactly what it is that you want, and it's to get clarity. And it's an amazing process. It's proven. It's tried and true. I didn't think it up, but it's been around for about 3,000 years.
Pretty long time.
Yeah. They started thinking, Aristotle and Socrates started putting this stuff together, and all the great philosophers since then, and it works.
Interesting. Next segment, we're going to talk a little lighter topic, but I'm glad Mike reached out because I think it helps him. Everything you've told him.
Hey, Mike, give me a call at the office at 864-977-1772. That's 864-977-1772, man, and I'll be glad to talk with you, and get you dialed in and do what I can for you. And that's, I'm available. That's the thing is, and if I do have the time, I am going to be available to you.